All right, today we are dealing with transformation. But before we talk to transformation, let's talk about parent function. Think about parent functions at our main function, like our last name. We have very, very popular last name. For example, in your culture, we have Hernandez, Casillas, Martinez. In my culture, probably Tran, Nguyen, Lee, all of that are very popular last name, right? So likewise, every function have a very popular like quadratic, square root, absolute value, qubit, and cubic root. Every function has something special about them. But doesn't matter what special it is, it's always f of x. That means a function of y. And we only have one parent function only. Look at the number in front. We only have one parent function for each type of function, only one. Now, how does the transformation affect the parent function to make them into a new function? We're going to move on here to introduce to you the general formula that applies to any function. In this formula, you will note f of x. Again, f of x stands for function. It could be any function in the world, but there are three letter effect transformation. That's the A, H, and K. A being the letter in front of that f of x. H is the letter in the middle, and it's right directly inside the parenthesis or right next to the x. And then we have K that's gonna be in the back. How all these three letter affect transformation? We will start with K. When you add to K, you're going to go up. And when you subtract to K, you go down. Very simple. So that's EK. Keep that in mind, you got this. Now moving on to H. Because H is directly next to X, two things gonna happen, either go left or either go right. When I add, I actually gonna go left this time. It's kind of odd, but because of the minus in the formula, so it switches. And then I have negative, I'm gonna go to the right. So that's going to be left and that's going to be right. And then we have A. There are three things going to happen with the letter A. First thing first, we start out, if you see a negative, if the function start out with a negative, that means it's going to be a sad phase. When you see a positive, it's a happy phase. So think about the graph. Sometimes it open up, sometimes it open down. But in transformation, we call this a reflection. So we call them reflect over the x-axis. Okay, that's one of them. And two more. Also, we already said earlier, we only have one parent function for each of them. So we always compare this number A with 1. So compare to 1. If this is a big number, bigger than 1, it's a big number. Like the A is more than 1. The graph going to stretch. It's going to be vertical stretch. And it could be a small number, any number, but less than 1. Okay. And the graph going to be compressed. Just like that. So using this note, you go into apply transformation to all of them. I'm gonna save it. So here go, let's take a picture. And then we're gonna move on with over here. The transformation rule applies to all the parent functions. So it doesn't matter what kinds of parent function it is, we can always do that. So f x minus 8 plus k. I'm not focused on the f of x at this point. This is f of x. So right now, let's say I'm going to deal with x squared, right? So all I have to do, I'm gonna put x and square, that's the specialty. I put the letter A is in the front, the letter H is in the middle, and the K is in the back, just like that. Next one, I'm going to have square root. Doesn't matter what kinds of function it is. The specialties is x. The h is always inside, so it's always minus h. But with the x, the letter a is in the front, k is in the back, and so on and so on. Absolute value doesn't matter what it is. You just keep the x and the specialty, and then you put the letter a is in the front, h in the middle, k is in the back. Notice how the specialty of the parent function stayed the same the whole time. I got a square, I got a square. I got the little root thingy, I got the little root thingy. I got a little two stick, like the bar, I got a little bar thingy. Everything exactly the same. And likewise over here, I'm going to have x to the power of 3, put a parenthesis because they are combination of power. This is the root 3, so I load it like this, and then I put the x. Again, we have 3 letters. A is in the front, H in the middle, K is in the back. A in the front, H in the middle, K is in the back. Do you have to memorize all of this? No, you don't have to. You just look at the formula, the specialty, and then you put them in the formula and do it like a puzzle. I'll take a pictures again one more time so I can have the note. All right, so now I'm going to use in the formula that we just have, and then we're going to do the question. Question number 1, they ask, what is the keyword? What transformation that occurred to create this graph? From this graph, right? So it's telling us our parent function is quadratic. Now I'm going to use the transformation rule that they already gave us. Thankfully, they gave us in f of x. That means I'm just going to write this formula down. So I'm going to put it right with them. So a f x minus 8 plus k. I'm just going to match in the formula. You know what? Let me just write it on the top. I think it will be easier. So I will write it up here. Let me make a little bit more room. I will put up here. So a f x minus 8 plus k. Based on this one, I'm just going to match in the formula. F of x is already f of x, so nothing changed, right? But if I'm going to match in this, the 4 belongs to the h. And I'm going to look at the formula that I already did. The formula said on h, they say, let's open that formula. On h, if we go into add, because I said plus 4, we're going to go left. So I'm just use the formula that I just copied. So right here, it's going to be left 4. Just like that. 3 over 2. I'm going to look at 3 over 2. 3 over 2, if I'm going to match in the formula, it belongs to a. It's right in the front. So 3 over 2 compared to 1 is going to be a big number compared to 1. So when it is a big number, I look at my charts again. If a big number, they said it's going to be stretched. So I'm just going to put a stretch. Not all the fractions are small. So I hope you understand that fraction could be big. In order for it to stretch by a factor of 3 over 2. So for example, if I do 2 over 2, I know it's equal 1, right? Then 1 over 2 obviously have to be less than 1. Then 3 over 2 have to be more than 1. That is how I compare. By looking at the number on the top, it is bigger than that number, then I'm bigger than 1. If the number on the top less than the number at the bottom, then I'm less than 1. If the number on the top equal to the number at the bottom, then it's equal 1. Obviously, right? So right now, we're just done with this question. We have 2 transformations, stretched by a factor of 3 over 2 and left 4. We don't have any k, so we don't write anything. Just like that. I really hope that makes sense. So we're gonna try one more, okay? Let's do the next one. That's a number 2. Again, what is the keywords in this question? They said change, transform, right? And they already gave us the formula in terms of that f of x. So very simple, I have to write a f of x minus 8 plus k. I'm going to use my special note right here to help me by matching it. So here we go. Let's take a quick look. What do we have in here? We have plus 5. So plus 5 I belong to in the back and it's k. And right here it says add. So obviously I'm going to go up by. Just like that. And then I also saw minus 2. And this it belongs to h. So on h, I'm going to go minus 2. So I'm going to go right 2. Finally, we also have minus. Minus right here belongs to a. I have to break it down. So the minus we see is going to be reflect over the x-axis. We saw that. We see a minus right there. It's reflect over the x-axis. There's also one more. That's a 1/5. The 1/5 belongs to a also. So 1/5 compared to 1 is going to be a small number. When it is a small number, it's going to be a small number. So we're going to be vertical compressed. Small is compressed. So vertical compressed by a factor of 1/2. Now keep that in mind. You go into, I mean 1/5, my bad. You're gonna use 1/5. You're not gonna use negative 1/5 because you already use the negative for reflection. So you don't use it again. So that's all the 4 transformation that you have in this question. Really hope that makes sense. And then we're gonna try a few more, okay? So until you feel comfortable. So let's try with the next one. Oh, in this question, what is the opposite? In this question, as you can see, do we have the equation already? We don't have the equation, but we have the decryption that tell you what to write. So right now we start with f of x equal x squared. And the question asks us to write a transform to create m of x. So that's gonna be the new function m of x. And I'm just gonna write the formula down. So I'm gonna put a f of x minus h plus k. This is the formula, correct? However, I have to use the formula that related to my parent function. In this case, my parent function is f of x, and that's going to be x squared. So I'm going to write the formula for x squared. What is the first one? Quadratic, just like in this example. Oh, I messed it up. So let me write this. So all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to put in the formulas again. This is x squared, right? We did that earlier. So this is x squared. I put the letter a is in the front, h is in the middle, k is in the back. Now that I know my formula, and this is going to be my m of x. And my job now is plug it in what I know. They said reflection over the x-axis. Reflection means a. So right now on a, I'm going to have a negative. Vertical stretch by a factor of 3, it also a, so I put in the front. Everything's still the same, okay? I have not done anything differently. Translation right. Translation right. When you hear the word right, that's going to be h. And I'm going to go right, so that's going to be -2 on h. So I'm gonna put -2 on h. And then go up, that's going to be k. And when you go up, you go into +4. That's it. So that's my m of x. And I just done with this one. Then the question pushed a little bit more. They asked, hey, what is the value of m x minus 2? So as you can look at this, it's exactly the same, right? But the only difference is x. X no longer x in -2 now. So what can we do? We are just simply, as you can see, it's no longer x. So instead of looking at x, I'm just gonna put -2 to replace x. But let me write that entire equation first. This is the equation, correct? But instead of x, we go into replace by -2, this one. So when I'm replay, I just put the -2 in there. So I know that I'm replay. It's gonna be a -2. Let me do the same color so you can see it. So this is gonna be a -2 to replace that x. And all I'm gonna do right now is just go to the calculator and calculate them. So very simple. I don't have to grab at this point. So I'm just gonna press home, and then I'm just gonna go to the calculator app, and I'm just gonna type it in. -2, so -3 parenthesis, -2 minus 2 subtract 2, close it, square, and then +4. Press enter. They're gonna give me the answer at -44. That's it. So what I just did is evaluate the value of the function when x equals -2. So the answer will be -44, and I'm done. So you got an equation, and you got the value of that equation when x equals -2. Now, let's say the best for last. We will try one last one. So the last one right here, we have absolute value. So I'm doing the same thing. So I know my f of x is absolute value of x. We want to create g of x. So I will write out g of x. I write out my formula. It's always a x minus h plus k. Knowing that my f of x this time is going to be absolute value. So I will put my function like this. Oops. I will put my function like this with the x. And then I always have the letter a is in the front, h in the middle, k is in the back. This is my g of x. They have vertical compressed by a factor of 3/4. As you can see, 3/4 smaller than 1. That is A. I put it in the front 3/4. And then they have translation left. When I hear the word left, that going to be left going to be H, and I'm +4. So I put a +4 in here on H. And then I go down, that's going to be K, and it's gonna be a -1. So I put a -1 on K. This is my G of X. And I'm pretty good, pretty happy with that. Now I'm gonna find out the value of G of, it's gonna be a G right there, my apologies. It's gonna be G of 0. What it means is that instead of X, I'm gonna replace X by 0. So I have everything exactly the same, but the only difference now is that 0. So let me just rewrite everything exactly the same, but I just plugged it in that 0 right there. And I'm gonna go to the calculator and calculate them again. Now, for absolute value, it's located in this spot. So let me show you. You have to go to that number 9, next to the little book. You will see the absolute value located right here. And then you press on it. Oh, my bad, I forgot 3/4. So 3 divided by 4. I don't like that. Let me just redo it. Okay, start over, okay? I wanna get 3/4, so let me grab the little 9 thingy again. I get the fraction. So I got 3/4. I'm gonna do that little 9 again. I get the little absolute values in the middle. I mean, right here. And I'm typing in 0 + 4, which you know is a 4, but let me just type it in -1. Boom. And it's gonna give you 2, just like that. So that's how you do that. Let me do it one more time, just make sure that you know the step. To get the fraction, you can click on here or control divide, but I'm gonna click on here already. So I'm gonna get 3/4. I'm gonna go move the arrow to the side and I click on that again. I choose the absolute value is located right here. And then I put 0 + 4, just like the calculation. I get out that absolute value. I put -1, and then I press enter, and then I will find my answer. Okay. I really hope this makes sense to you. And I hope you learned something too. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.